everyone, hope all of you are doing super well and it's great to see all of you again. And this is a very short video with some information on how you can manage your requirements. So sometimes requirements, managing them could be really overwhelming because there's a lot of changes that happen over its course and its period of time. So that it's very important that as business analysts, we need to maintain and manage these requirements. So there are three things that you need to keep in mind. The first one is you need to manage a requirement. So when I say managing a requirement, it means that the requirement has to be updated and current at all times in that period of a project, which means that the requirement information or the requirement might change a bit. Maybe there's some changes that's being done to the requirement, but whatever be the changes and whatever point of time that you refer to that requirement, it's very important that the information available at that point of time is the current information. So it means that whenever any information is being updated, the requirement also has to be updated accordingly. Next, you need to make sure that all the stakeholders who is supposed to have access to that requirement has access to the information involved in that requirement. Next, you also need to make sure of updating the relationships of requirements. So requirements, there could be dependencies between requirements, and every requirement could relate with each other. So it's important that you even track and define and maintain these relationships. So you can track these relationships and these requirements in different ways using either any um, taxonomies, or it could be through a traceability matrix. But whatever the tool that you are using, make sure that you define clearly the relationships between these requirements. So next one is, once you're done managing requirements, you need to make sure that you maintain requirement attributes. So every requirement has attributes, some common attributes at least. So I had taken a video on what are the different common attributes that a requirement has and how do you maintain them. So if you have not seen that video, I'll add the link in the description box and you can have a look at it. So when we say maintaining attributes, it means that a requirement would have different set of attributes. For example, it would have a deadline, a urgency associated to it, a priority associated to it. There could be different attributes associated to a requirement. So though the requirement does not change, sometimes an attribute might change. For example, let's say that a requirement was defined as a low priority requirement, but because after some set of conversations, it was identified that it has dependencies with other, requirements, or rather other requirements has dependencies with this requirement. So therefore, it is changed to a high priority requirement. So in cases like this, it's very important that you also update the attributes of the requirements. And the third one is to reuse requirements. You need to spot out opportunities or cases where a particular requirement may be able to be reused by the entire organization, or it could be reused by maybe the current initiative of the project, multiple initiatives, or department. So depending on the level of abstraction of the requirement, it can be reused throughout the organization or multiple departments. For example, if a requirement is very much detailed and custom to a particular solution, it means that it's very tightly coupled with a lot of logics involved to a particular department, an initiative, or a particular sector or a program. But let's say that the requirement is very generic, okay, it's able to have a very high level abstraction. It means that it's very loosely coupled to all the logics and therefore it could be reused. So therefore you need to identify what are these requirements that can be reused for multiple other initiatives or projects or departments or the entire organization, and you should be able to maintain those requirements, because later on in time it could also help you out in not putting again that time and effort to again analyze or come up with that requirement solution. So these are some ways in which you can manage requirements, and this information was taken from the BABOK guide. I hope that you got some information on how you can manage requirements, and don't forget and don't make the mistake of not updating your requirements, because sometimes you also would lose track of what the requirement was about, and even the originality and the real intent of that requirement could be missed out. So keep that in mind, and I hope that you enjoyed this video. So if you like this video, please do give this a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed, please do subscribe to this channel, and also do share your feedbacks. Thank you.